Hello guys, gals and gamers, and welcome back to another video. I am going to do this video quite fast. Do not expect many edits or anything. I have already had to do this video once, but then my computer got into problems. The original video got corrupted. I'm not in a good mood, okay? But today we are talking about streaming services. We have had streaming services like Xbox Game Pass, Sony's PlayStation Plus, and Nintendo Switch Online in games already. And streaming services have become really popular like past 10 years, not just in gaming, but otherwise too, like music, you have stuff like Spotify and iTunes. Of course, in TV and movies, you have stuff like HBO Max, Netflix, Disney Plus. And gaming has not reached those levels of popularity just yet. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about why that is, why gaming isn't as popular as those other mediums, and what is going to happen in the future of streaming services. And because we are mainly a Nintendo focused channel, we're going to talk about how Nintendo can do better with their streaming service, because at the moment, I think their service is the worst out of like the big three. There's also EA Play, but I'm not going to talk about that because it comes with Xbox Game Pass, and I don't care about EA Play. Before we really begin, let's remind you that you should like and subscribe to this channel, like the video and subscribe, and also comment down below because I really want to start a discussion with my videos. Now, yeah, we recently had the PlayStation Plus reveal, and we got some new cool goodies in there. Some prior consoles coming back, so you can play them much easier, and just otherwise the service is much better now. And yeah, that is only one of the streaming services we have now. In PlayStation Plus, it works like you get 3 free games a month of like that are PlayStation 5 games, and then you also get access to this catalog of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, PSP games that you can download kind of more freely. Xbox Game Pass, on the other hand, works like if you are subscribed, you get access to this massive library of like 300 plus games, and you can download them as much as you want, as long as you are still subscribed and as long as they are still on the service, kind of like Netflix. If it goes out of the service, then, well, good luck with that. Well, with gaming, you can still buy it from like the Windows Store, Microsoft Store, whatever it is it's called. And yeah, then there's also Nintendo Switch Online, which I have, and as I said, it is kind of the worst one in here because it does offer like some back catalog stuff. It has like NES and SNES. If you upgrade, you also have Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64 games there. Some, not a huge library of them, unfortunately. And you don't really have any free major current console games in there. You have sometimes like game trials that last like a week and give you access to a random game for like a week, and after that goes, then yeah, good luck with that one. It's not a good service. Also, there are some other neat stuff in there, cloud saving, which I think should not be part of a subscription service. It would just need to be like a standard feature in the console itself. So yeah, those are the current options, and we have seen that the popularity of these. We have had a lot of subscribers. I think Xbox Game has like 25 million subscribers. Switch Online has like 32, and Sony's PlayStation Plus has maybe 48, if I remember correctly. And the data I have gotten, I'm not sure how reliable it is, but I just found the image on Twitter. But they are good. They are really popular, and the demand is like growing. They keep getting more and more subscribers. People are excited, and with this Sony's new tiers and new stuff, it is of course they want more subscribers, but also they as a company want just like more revenue out of those existing subscribers. So that is kind of what they're doing when they announce these new tiers. They're not directly competing with Game Pass just yet because there isn't really a need for it. And Game Pass's like business model is very different than we have for like Sony and Nintendo. It is very different. Xbox is all in on the Game Pass service, while Sony and Nintendo are still more traditionally like selling games and blah blah blah. That kind of traditional how games are used to working, and there is kind of a problem when it comes to these streaming services. At least compared to like other mediums. I feel like comparing to something like Netflix or Spotify, and that is that apart from Xbox Game Pass, these streaming services are also like very a closed ecosystem. You only have Nintendo Switch Online on the Nintendo Switch. It's in the name. PlayStation Plus only on PlayStation, but Xbox Game Pass, it is also available on PC as well, and mobile kind of via cloud. So that is a good avenue for them also, which like expands the number of subscribers as well. And with this, it's also good to notice that, like I said previously, these make a bit more money than traditional streaming services for other mediums, because if a movie leaves Netflix, it's just gone forever. But if a game leaves Xbox Game Pass, you can still go to the Microsoft Store and buy it again. So you don't have to stop playing it forever, which is a really cool thing. So there is definitely some unique attributes to streaming services on games that we need to consider here when we are talking about what Nintendo can do. And I think the future of streaming services, I think it does mainly depend on Microsoft what they do with Game Pass, because at the current moment, I do think they are kind of the leading guy when it comes to these streaming services. With Xbox Game Pass, it is the most like Netflix. It is, in my opinion at least, like the best deal when it comes to all of these streaming services, and it is available on other platforms. And if they really push that, push Game Pass on mobile and PC, and if it becomes really popular, then I think other companies will have to react to that later on. But yes, now let's talk about how can Nintendo do better. And at first, let's talk about how Nintendo can compete better with the existing two streaming services. And then a little later on, let's talk about if Nintendo wanted to really like win, go all in with these streaming services, how could they do that? But yes, how could they compete at first? And I think Nintendo is doing okay with Nintendo Switch Online. Okay, not bad, but not great either. Just okay, they're doing fine. But the main problem here is that people are kind of disappointed by the expansion pack that they revealed. I think it was last year, yes. And basically, with this expansion pack, you get access to Nintendo 64 and also Sega Genesis games, which is it's all right, I guess. I do not care at all about Sega Genesis, and for N64, I have the original console and basically all of the games I want for it anyway. So it's not really anything for me. But also, a really cool thing about the expansion pack is that it also gives you free DLC. At the moment, we only have Animal Crossing, which I have a mixed history with. I don't like New Horizons that much, and Mario Kart 8, which I have on Wii U and not the Switch. So it definitely doesn't offer me anything. But that is what the expansion pack offers, and people really are not excited about it because it is quite a significant price increase. I think it was almost double or something like that. And the value just isn't there. So that is what we want to focus on, is making the expansion pack more valuable at first. And to do this, you of course need to add some DLC into it. Breath of the Wild 1, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade 2. Start with like the existing uh, DLCs already. And then, of course, when you get new games like Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, whatever have you in mind, also include DLC for those as well. And then maybe even like Smash Brothers, get the Fighters Passes in there. That would be cool to see. I like what they did with Mario Kart because that is one of their most popular series, believe it or not. And well, you probably know the sales data of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty good. It's selling pretty well. It's the most, it has sold the most copies when it comes to anything on the Switch. So having that DLC on there is a really good sign of things to come. Then more games, of course, and more systems. I would like a Game Boy, and then of course have all of the major IPs that you have in there as well. Have Pokemon in the Nintendo Switch Online, that would be amazing. Have more Kirby, have more Zelda, have more Mario in there. Get all of those key titles in there, and people start getting more and more excited. And especially when you add new consoles, start with the key titles first, and then some random stuff here and there. Keep up the recognizable titles, the landmark titles. Uh, Focus on them. And I think we will at some point get kind of a major overhaul of this service, anyways, because at least when it comes to like the name, Nintendo Switch Online, it's a good name, you know what it is, but at the same time, if you want to keep this service going to the next console, you need to change the name because Nintendo Switch Online is suddenly a really bad name if your console is not called the Nintendo Switch. And then also a few things before that happens. I want like all of the NES games, all of the kind of older console games. I want them to be downloadable separately, and maybe even like you can buy them separately as well. Because when this service goes down on Nintendo Switch, I still want to play them, especially if something like Pokemon comes there. I still want to play them on that system, so I would really appreciate if those could be made downloadable separately, or maybe you can even buy them separately. Make some extra revenue for Nintendo. And I don't think brand new games will ever come to this expansion pack or Nintendo Switch Online ever, whatever the name will be. And that is just because Nintendo has the value thing, they really value their franchises. If you go to the store and look at a new Zelda game, it's $60. But next to it, it can be a Zelda game that is 4 years old. It's also $60. And that is because if you go to the store and look at Zelda, you know that those games are valuable. And if those games are valuable, you kind of think they are better than other games. And that is kind of what Nintendo is doing. So if Nintendo were just to give those games away for free, that would kind of decrease their value. That's why Nintendo games never go on sale really for that much. It's all about perceived value of those games. So I don't think new games or even current system games will ever be available so freely as they are on other platformers, so it won't be a direct Game Pass competitor at this point ever. And what Nintendo's advantage here still is, why I think they can compete very well, is just because all of the IPs that they own. They have plenty of like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, everything on the shelf right behind me, except Shovel Knight and Pac-Man. They're all also there. Those are not Nintendo, but you get it. And that is a very good thing. That is how Disney Plus became so popular of a movie and TV streaming service right out of the gate because they had the Disney name and all of the franchises that they have. Nintendo has kind of a similar thing. So many recognizable things. And that is also why Xbox, Microsoft, why they have been buying out larger companies like Bethesda and Activision, because they don't have that, but they want to focus on Game Pass. So they need that content and they need those recognizable IPs that people love already. So that is what Nintendo's advantage here is, and that's why I think even when there are no like brand new games on this service and why it can be just a bit okay, that is still how Nintendo can compete well. But what if they suddenly want to win, be the top streaming service when it comes to games? I think it is pretty unlikely that this scenario will happen because Nintendo being Nintendo, and they usually want to like take their time before adapting a new technology, and especially one where you would have to give games away for free, might not be something that Nintendo's that excited about. But the first thing they would do is also something Nintendo would hate, and that is accessibility. And like I talked about before with Game Pass, needs to be available on other platforms as well. And other platforms, I mean mobile and PC. I'm not sure how Nintendo would do this, probably in a very Nintendo way as well. So you can like download any of them all streamable via cloud or something, but they would be there for people if they want it. And that is something they need to do if they want to win. Have those games be available everywhere so people can actually have that service. If it's only for one console, then they would need to own that console. And if that console is not a success, if it's another Wii U, then your whole streaming service will fail. And then also aggressive use of your intellectual property and have exclusive games on the service. We already have a few, like Tetris 99, which is technically not exclusive, but you need online to play it, so it is exclusive. So have more of that, but have it be something a bit bigger and something more Nintendo. My suggestion is something like a Kirby spin off. We have had loads of those come out ever since like the DS days, I think. You have stuff for like 3DS like Blow Up Blast, and then Switch has like Kirby Fighters. Do something like that, but exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online. People will get interested. If it's really fun, you can gather a good community in there. Have more of those, maybe even like Zelda or Splatoon, something like that in there. And have I would also want to do is have all of the like previous consoles available in one place. 40 years of Nintendo history, all on one console, all in one streaming service. That would be really exciting, wouldn't it? And also, I want this service to go on, and I want this service to be available on the next gaming console, whatever Nintendo does after the Switch. So, design your next console around this, around virtual console games or previous console games working there day one, and just having this ready, because this could be a really key detail if you really want to focus on streaming services. You will of course need to think about how to make all of these games available on the system. It needs to be kind of something like the Switch, but also needs to think about, okay, we want DS games here, 3DS games, Wii games here, so we have to have somehow two screens, maybe work around that. Also motion controls. Nintendo has had a lot of gimmicks in its past, so we need to account for those when it comes to like expanding the background backwards compatibility. Yeah, I can't speak, whatever, but you get the idea. And I think all of those things considered, Nintendo just needs to push a lot of money into it and then do a lot of service. And they could win because they do have a pretty good advantage. And the Nintendo Switch online numbers aren't that bad as of now, but they just need to focus a bit more on the expansion pack and then this other stuff if they want to win. And that is all of my opinions. Hopefully this video will not be too late for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.